Have you ever wondered if reincarnation is real? What if I told you about a man who, while locked away in one of America's toughest prisons, claimed to travel through time and live out his past lives? This is the story of Danell Standing, a university professor whose unbelievable tale continues to baffle experts to this day. Our story begins with Professor Danell Standing, an agronomist at the University of California. His academic life took a dark turn when he was arrested for the murder of a fellow professor. Convicted of the crime, Standing was sent to the infamous San Quentin State Prison. There, he would spend the next 8 years of his life, facing a grim future that would end at the gallows. Life in San Quentin was brutal. Standing was subjected to horrific torture methods, including being frequently thrown into solitary confinement. In the darkness of his cell, he was tightly bound in a straitjacket for days on end, a practice designed to break a person's body and spirit. But instead of breaking, Standing discovered something extraordinary. He learned a form of self-hypnosis, a technique taught to him by another inmate, which allowed him to mentally escape the unbearable pain. He found that he could enter a deep, coma-like state. The prison doctors observed this and called it disassociation, what many today might call astral projection, or an out-of-body experience. During these long periods of unconsciousness, Standing claimed he wasn't just escaping the pain. He was traveling. He was journeying through time, into what he firmly believed were his past incarnations. From the confines of his straitjacket, he soared through history, living countless lives. He was a swordsman in medieval France, a hermit in ancient Egypt, and a survivor of the Mountain Meadows massacre. Each life was vivid, filled with rich detail and a deep sense of reality. Upon returning to his tortured body, Standing would meticulously write down everything he had experienced. He filled pages with the stories of his other selves, creating a secret history of his soul. Of all his incredible journeys, one stands out as the most remarkable, the most verifiable, and the most chilling. In one of his regressions, Standing became a man named Daniel Foss, an American sailor from the early 19th century. As Foss, he remembered every detail. He recalled departing from a port in Philadelphia in the year 1809. He was aboard a brig called the Negotiator, setting sail for the distant Friendly Islands in the South Pacific. But the voyage was doomed. A few months into the journey, disaster struck. The ship hit an iceberg and sank into the icy waters. In his vision, Standing lived through the chaos, the freezing water, the desperate fight for survival. He was the only one who made it out alive. As Daniel Foss, he washed ashore on a deserted, desolate island. For 8 long years, he was completely alone, a castaway with no hope of rescue. His only sustenance was seal meat. His only tools were a simple pocket knife and a single wooden oar that had washed up with him. To keep track of the agonizingly slow passage of time, he used the knife to carve a notch into the aura at the end of each week. But he did more than just mark time. He used the aura as his chronicle, his message in a bottle for a world he thought he'd never see again. With painstaking effort, he carved a detailed inscription into the wood. Professor Standing, lying in his prison cell, recalled the exact words. The inscription read, "This serves to inform whoever may come into possession of this or that. Daniel Foss, a native of Elkton, Maryland, one of the United States of North America, who departed from the port of Philadelphia in 1809, aboard the brig Negotiator bound for the Friendly Islands, was cast upon this desolate island in February of the following year. There, he erected a cabin and lived for many years, subsisting on seal meat, being the last survivor of the crew of said brig, which struck an iceberg and was wrecked on November 25, 1809. Standing's account didn't end there. He claimed that after 8 years of isolation, Daniel Foss was miraculously rescued. Upon returning to civilization, Foss donated the oar, his solitary companion and testament to the Philadelphia Museum. The level of detail in Standing's story was staggering. It was so specific, so filled with names, dates, and places, that it captivated even the hardened prison warden. Was this just the elaborate fantasy of a man losing his mind under torture, or was there something more to it? The warden, compelled by curiosity, decided to find out. He granted Standing permission to write a letter to the curator of the Philadelphia Museum to ask a simple question. Did the ore exist? The prison waited in anticipation. T came back was nothing short of astonishing. The curator, a man named Hoss Alsbert, wrote back with a detailed and perplexing response. He confirmed that yes, an ore matching the prisoner's description did indeed exist in the museum's collection. But what made the discovery truly bizarre was that almost no one knew about it. The curator wrote, "It is true that there exists here an ore exactly as you described. However, few people are aware of its existence, as it is not on public display. In fact, although I have held this position for 18 years, I myself was unaware of it." Salzburg explained that he had to consult old dusty records to even confirm the ore's existence. He found a log entry from 1821, stating that the ore was donated by a man named Daniel Foss, from Elkton, Maryland. After a long search through the museum's storage, they finally located it. The ore was found in a forgotten attic, hidden among miscellaneous wooden items. And on it, carved into the weathered wood, were the notches and the exact inscription that Standing had described in his letter, word for word. But that wasn't all. The curator's search uncovered something else. Stored along with the ore was a small, self-published booklet written by Daniel Foss himself. It detailed his 8 years as a castaway and was printed in Boston. It seemed the old sailor had tried to make a little money in his later years by sharing his incredible survival story. The curator was completely mystified. He ended his letter by asking Standing, "I am most curious to know how you came to learn of this ore, whose existence we at the museum were unaware of. Would I be correct in presuming that you read this account in some document later published by Daniel Foss?" He had no idea that Standing's source wasn't a book, but what he claimed was his own memory from a past life. The curator, excited by the find, promised to immediately put the ore and the booklet back on public display. A short time after this incredible validation, Danell Standing's sentence was carried out. He was hanged at San Quentin, taking the secrets of his astral travels and past lives with him to the grave. The mystery of how he knew about the ore was never solved. His incredible writings were eventually smuggled out of the prison and discovered in 1913. His story was so compelling that it inspired the famous author Jack London to write the novel The Star Rover, also known as The Wanderer of the Stars, immortalizing Standing's strange and fascinating tale. So, what really happened? Was Danell Standing truly a star rover, a traveler of time and spirit? Did he somehow tap into a collective unconscious or access a genuine past life memory under extreme duress? Or was it all a grand, elaborate delusion? Perhaps he had stumbled upon Foss's rare booklet at some point in his life, forgotten it, and then had the memory resurfaced in his subconscious while being tortured. Could it be just a one-in-a-billion coincidence? We may never know for sure. The story of Danell Standing remains one of history's most profound and unsettling mysteries, blurring the line between science, spirituality, and the unknown depths of the human mind. What do you believe? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next dive into the unknown. See you next time.